Okay, welcome to the Esport Research Report, presented by myself, Dr. Brian McCauley, here at Jönköping University in Sweden, and produced by Nicholas Hendelkens, our communications lead for the Esport Research Network. Today, I'm talking to Raphael Priftis, who is a lecturer in sports and esports at The Hague University, and he's here to talk about his current project, employee engagement and social interaction in corporate esport events, insights from the company Clash tournament. Welcome to the podcast, Raphael, and please tell us a little bit about yourself to kick it off.
Hey, hi Brian. Thank you for having me. Well, a little bit about myself. My name is Raphael, as you mentioned. I'm teaching here at the Hague University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. I'm teaching at the Communications Bachelor's and also at the Sports Management Bachelor's program. So, two bachelor's degrees right now. My background is in sports management, and I'm currently doing a PhD in discrimination online gaming at the University of Lausanne.
Oh, just before we get into the what you're presenting, your PhD is on discrimination in online gaming. I'm immediately interested here. What's your PhD about? And what are you doing it on, sort of?
Oh man, it's such a cool project that we're running on right now. So basically, I'm working with two people, one professor in Norway, and then my professor in Lausanne. And what we do, run experiments in various online games. So what we do, we have like players playing in multi play games online, and then we sort of measure discrimination. We make them broadcast their games, and then we analyze those videos actually as well online. So it's quite cool. We sent already a paper for publication. We're waiting actually right now. It should be coming out soon, hopefully. And then we are already busy with our second paper. And in the meantime, I'm working on a
Give
Prisma
me some
model relationship.
spoilers here. I'm actually very
Sorry.
interested in this topic. Like, what are some of the things about discrimination in online gaming?
Um, well, we've seen. I'll give you a small spoiler. We found sexual harassment in some of the games.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. Of guys or and girls.
Well, we basically what we see right now is we tend that female players they tend to be more discriminated than the male players. Obviously, I think we known that, but now it's evidently happening. And we also seen that, and that can happen basically. So what we do is we have different. We use names as anchor here to determine gender, and then we also are testing countries. We're testing various nicknames. Yeah, it's a cool. I'm not gonna say too much because in 2 weeks
Okay.
from now, I believe in Norway, I have to sort of present the second paper. So I hope you can be there and sort of follow
Yeah,
the
I will
presentation.
be. I'm actually, yeah, now I'm going to actually sit down through the
Sorry
presentation.
about that. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. No, don't be sorry. I'm actually fascinated. But anyway, look, I'm also interested in what we're talking about here because I do stuff in this as well. But
Yeah.
it's the Company Clash tournament. What is the Company Clash tournament?
So basically, that's a tournament that was organized by Team Liquids in October, past October. It was a tournament that was actually organized for companies, so companies could compete against each other, right? In this case, there were about 8 companies competing against each other. 323 people attended the event, and they were part of this competition. Um, and I think there were a couple of questions that were rising from Liquid in this case. I think does everybody know Liquid? But should I say who Team Liquid is? No, right? I
I'll
don't have
explain
to
who
say
they are.
that.
Some people mightn't know.
Okay, so Team Liquid is it was voted the best esports team in the world last year, and yeah, they're basically competing in most of the esports titles around the globe. So they are right now they have an office here in Utrecht, and then they also have offices in Brazil, in the US, Germany, and basically all around the globe. And they're one of the best commercial esports teams and more sustainable esports teams in the world as well, I would say.
But so the Company Clash tournament. So those 8 companies must have been huge, and I'm going to assume that the employees came from a lot of other countries.
Correct. So employees, I actually have the data here in front of me. So when it comes to the companies, we talk about ASML, SAP, Surf, right, Invaders, and so on. And then when it comes to employees, we saw that they were Dutch, German, Indian, Polish, Portuguese, Irish, right? So there was a diverse background of employees as well.
All right, and what sort of esport titles were competed in?
So there were we had chess, EAFC, League of Legends. right? So it was quite fascinating to see all these people, because something interesting actually was that the age average was also like 34, 35, right? So quite high for esports. um, and then we saw people like being from 18 to 57, right? So you can imagine now someone 57 years old compete against an 18 years old, and with his teammates, right? People who he's working on a daily basis, representing a company. So that was actually pretty nice to
I
witness.
don't have to imagine. I'm 45. I've had to compete against 14-year-olds in matchmaking stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a good thing my brain is more developed, even if
But
I'm
it
not
must be
great.
tough, isn't it? I mean, your reflexes obviously are different at that age.
But just on that, like, the like esports is one of the few platforms where you can, I was playing games with some 14-year-olds last night without sounding like you're a bit of a creep. It's
Yeah,
very multi-generational, multinational. The EU
absolutely.
recognizes the value of it in terms of forging a common EU identity, and it's a shared identity. So so you had 18-year-old employees and 57-year-old employees competing on teams. Was there anybody over 50 on one of the winning teams?
That's a very good question. I don't have that in front of me. Great question. I'll have to look at that actually.
I just want to hear that there was. Um,
I
so
hope
how?
so. I hope so.
Yeah, it was supported by three 18-year-olds, but on the team they were carried. But so how did you do the research? What format did it take?
Yeah, so what we did is during the time I was running the esports minor here in The Hague. So we have an esports minor that runs once a year for 10 weeks, basically. And we're focusing on the esports business and esports events, right? And then during that time, like I said, I was running that esports minor. And then I had my students, and we said, you know what? There's this event happening. There's a huge opportunity for us to sort of be part of it somehow and collect data and write a paper. And then we're like, okay. So I had a couple of students that really wanted to be part of it, and then I worked out a survey during that process with them, and then we built up a survey. We communicated with Liquid. We went over, and then so we printed the survey on like business cards, and then my students were sort of the stars of the show, right? So I had like 5 or 6 of them, and they had like a Liquid jersey, and then they were running all around the building from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, sharing those cards and telling the people what we do, why is it important, and how can it really help basically make this better next year. And then people had the opportunity to get that card and fill in the survey at their own time.
So the QR code, right?
Correct.
And we almost thought they were going to die a few years ago, and then COVID hit, and bang, QR codes are mainstream. I mean, so what were some of the sort of questions? What sort of questions were you asking in the survey? Were they like Likert scale 1 to 7, or was there some open ended ones?
Yeah, so first we had some demographic questions. So we're looking at, gender, age, so practical information, the company they work for, nationality, job titles, game experience, right? So for instance, when it comes to game experience, we saw that 76% of them, more or less, they had more than 10 years of gaming experience, which is actually, yeah, great to see. And
I'm
then
creeping up on 40, by the way. I think I was 6 when I first played games, so I'm very close to 40 years of gaming experience.
yeah, I mean, I started gaming when I was 12, and I'm now 35. So, do the math.
You're
Yeah.
getting there
So,
too, mate.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you got the
right on.
demographics. Then what was the next sort of question you would ask?
Yeah, so great that you have, because actually we use the Messi model. So the Messi model some of the Messi model dimensions in this case. Okay, so the Messi model is basically refers to mapping elite sports potential societal impact. That's the acronym. Okay, and it has 10 societal impact dimensions. Okay, and then we took some of those dimensions and we build our questions based on those dimensions. Some of the three one that we used were social equity, equality, and inclusion, collective identity and pride, and then feel good and passion. Okay, so basically those were three of the dimensions that we used. And then in these dimensions, we had the liquor scales from 1 to 5, and then we had different questions, right? So, for instance, on pride, right? So we said, okay, this event made me feel proud to be part of my company, or competing in my in company class strengthened unity with my fellow colleagues, right? So in terms of participation, some examples, we had the event encourages you to network and connect with other people, right? So we're trying to see Are you networking? Are you connecting with people that you don't know? Can you really get out of your comfort zone? Or the esports environment allows you to network and connect in different ways than traditional events. So we're trying to also see, is there a difference, compared to traditional events?
I
um
just immediately love this. I'm going to get, I actually, in a lot of stuff I do, and I'm sure there are many other people like me that like to go, oh, you have some numbers to
I
validate
do.
what I'm trying to push through right now. Because my brain's immediately going, I kind of want your data. I want to show it to people because this is where a lot of us struggle. You're actually really hitting a gap here that there's a gap between the companies and the value of esports, and what you're actually doing is articulating this value proposition that might not be clear to a lot of companies who want to be in esports, but no one's able to say, here's the value proposition, here's what you get from it,
Mhm.
because you're doing an emerging and important area of research, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Um, again, we were trying to sort of understand this whole process from an employees, let's say, perspective, and we're trying to see, do these employees, one of the so let me get back a little bit, because one of the biggest question was, we're trying to sort of see, how can company class enhance employee engagement? Okay, number one. Then number two was, we're trying to understand what is the value of the event, right, for the attendees. And then obviously the rest was more of, improve the experience for next year, and maybe use this as a map for future events as well, right? So that was the strategy. But ultimately, what's important to understand is, if you are a gamer, okay, and you love games, and you actively participate in competitions or in online gaming events, let's say, how are you perceived by by other employees within the company, right? How do they see you? Is that a taboo? Is that okay? Is that not okay? Right? So obviously, there's a lot of research out there on a lot of topics, but at the end of the day, we are all professionals, and being a gamer, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing nowadays? Right? So, and are people thinking, oh my god, get over it, you're 40, are you still gaming? Or, oh my god, are you still watching anime? Why would you do that? Uh,
That professor at the business school.
yeah,
I'm just going to point out that that's Transformers Generation One,
I
which is
love
a
it.
good is it marketing case study on they killed off all the
Yeah.
Autobots, and I teach it. But yeah, there's only one or two others with an office full of toys with this identity, because we're not a gaming school, we're a business school where
Yeah.
a lot of people do engage with research around games. But
Yeah.
but these other companies where you're kind of skewing younger, more digital, more active, less of academics, where people are focused on a topic, they're obviously going to have a lot more gamers in their ranks right now, because
Mhm.
I think people studying a PhD tend to give up their gaming habits for a little bit.
No, I mean, doing a PhD, obviously you've done that and you've been in that process, requires a lot of energy and a lot of motivation, a lot of time, obviously. But at the same time, if it's something you're passionate about, and it's part of your routine, right? I don't think you have to give it up. So I do game. If anything, I game a bit less because of my child, but not because of work or because of research. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I feel like gaming is just it's part of my relaxation process.
How old is your kid now?
Christopher is going to be 2 actually in July, so
Oh, you've got another 4 or 5 years before you
I
get.
know.
I'm gaming with Zaya. He's 10. We're playing Hades. We're
Yeah,
finishing
yeah,
Halo 4. So in a few years you get the game as your excuse for gaming. So I've got to
yeah.
show him how to game properly. I got to teach him how to be a gamer. You'll have an excuse in a few years.
But
Yeah,
honestly, like yesterday, we were watching some show online, and I thought to myself, man, I can't wait for you to watch One Piece with me. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
was
we've done that with Zaya. He loved it. I mean, here's the thing. When I think about my son, and you're going to think about your son, it's actually what your research is pointing to is the idea that being good at gaming, being able to game right, being able to socially interact, have those skills are, first of all, directly transferable to a workplace. And
yeah,
second of all, much like football, there's the banter in Ireland and England, or hockey here in
absolutely.
Sweden. It's a cultural language that you can connect and create social capital within your company, right?
Yeah. So let me give you one. Let me share with you one question on the pride section. By participating in company class, I feel that my employer and colleagues are open to gaming as a hobby. value its positive impact, and make me feel accepted and welcome as a gamer.
Yeah. That's important. And was that
Absolutely.
how was that sort of answered?
Well, mean 4.22.
From 5?
Yeah,
That's good.
very good.
That's really positive. Out of 7
Yeah,
it would suck, but out of 5 is like our skills. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
So let's get some other questions here. So, practically speaking, how can we utilize corporate esports events for human or HRM practices or purposes?
Yeah, so for instance, this event, it wasn't really focusing on the HRM purposes because what they did is that they had separated the areas, so companies could sort of rent various areas within the building, and that sort of gave the feeling that okay, they have a more fancy area because they paid a bit more, and then these people have a bit less, right? There wasn't
Yeah.
common area as well with a bar and you could drink a coffee and eat all together. So sure, that was the moment where everybody could sort of network, get to meet other
So wait,
people.
just for anyone who's not clear, human resource management is HRM.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Human resource management. Yeah. My bad.
No,
It's
my
called
bad.
people's
First,
management nowadays, by the way. So we're also getting rid of that, of
it's
that
PM now.
acronym.
It'll get
Yeah.
confusing with times, but anyway. So
Yeah.
keep going. Sorry.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, but ultimately, these type of events, especially when you sort of wear the jersey of, because everybody had the jersey from their own company, right? So if you were from SAP, you will wear your jersey, so everybody knew that you're representing a specific company. Um, you know, something important to notice here is that these people, right, people that were participating in the event, most of them had a similar occupation, right? So most of them, their job titles was either engineer, software developer, um, IT support, data, right? Product management. So they also sort of similar in terms of what they do, because the companies were also kind of like competing in the same ecosystem more or less, and that kind of helps to share, perspectives, but also share your experiences at your job. Um, and then we saw, we could see that people would talk to each other, and then what was nice to sort of see after the data was that even losing, it wasn't taken personal. It was just a fun experience, and people were sort of feeling blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we lost 13-0, myself and some of the ERN people against the third ranked Valorant team of Staffordshire. They were knifing us for fun. We, we just laughed. I mean, it is that's a very key part of gaming, and I think they were given an excuse to travel and attend an event, and it wasn't
Absolutely.
about having to drink and the
Yeah,
traditional model of corporate networking, right? It's like let's sit and play games and chat and have a
exactly.
friendly. I mean, that sounds
Uh,
easier.
let me share some quotes with you, okay? Because I think we've done, we also had some open up questions, right? So people could sort of share their thoughts. It feels like a big family. That was one of the quotes. Okay.
Good.
A unique format of networking that connects people who normally wouldn't. Okay. Another one, playing League on stage was a dream come true.
I
Like,
love that one.
yeah,
That's I want school kids to be able to play on stage in front of their classmates just as an experience. I mean, that's that's nice for people to get to do that. I love that. I'm smiling because I just someone says that they had a really good time. So like what sort of I think those quotes actually articulate some of the benefits that the employees get from these type of events, right?
absolutely, true. And I think there's obviously more benefits, right? So if you think about it, um, you know, competitive elements. So some of them sort of, by competing right against other companies, they create sort of, they increase their pride for of being part of a company, right? So if I go back to, let's say, to the pride moment, okay, and I'm thinking, okay, um competing in company class strengthened unity with my fellow colleagues, right? That's a 4 out of 5, if I may just give a small spoiler here.
That's pretty good
So,
as well.
right, I'm like, hey man, that's amazing, right? So, or this event made me feel proud to be part of my company. 4.08, like, so 4.1, let's say. uh it is an amazing number to see. I'm thinking, wow.
It would probably be higher if you controlled for losing. If someone just lost the game and then took the survey,
Yeah,
oh, but that would probably be a little flaw. You should maybe get them to do it with, not at their own choosing. So I guess what you're presenting here is a really strong argument for the benefit of corporate esport events, and that more
absolutely.
corporations should take part or host them or manage them or do them. Like, what are your main recommendations coming from all this?
So what I think is that obviously working for the university. So if you consider the university a company, right? Let's say the university is a company, and if I go back and reflect to the team days, right, that we organize, or other companies organizing networking events and team days events, and all focus on, yeah, let's go do traditional sports, or let's go to a restaurant, or let's go painting, or whatever, right? It depends how creative they are. I feel like esports events for companies, right? So corporate esports events should be considered as the next big thing for employee engagement, increasing and enhancing employee engagement, but also at the same time, um, um, you know, if you are part of a big company, there's a big chance you don't know most of the people you're working with, right? So this could be a moment where we can use these events to get to know the people you work with, to get to know basically your comrades, but also at the same time to sort of be able to represent the company on a level where it touches you and it makes you, it creates that loyalty. It creates that, it showcases the love and support you have for your company. But because we ended up just working, but work isn't just about working; it's about belonging. And I think these events can sort of help you with that process of, yeah, of feeling a part of the company that you're working on a daily basis.
That's fantastic, Raphael. I mean, so just to finish up now, what are the next steps for you with this project? Because you collected a bunch of responses. What's the plan to move this project forward as research?
Yeah, so if we want to publish these on a peer-reviewed journal, the next steps would be to interview the companies, right? So we want to interview the people who made the decisions, because obviously it comes at a cost, right? Sending these people to participate and compete and represent your company. So we want to know their narrative. We want to know how they think about it, how they see the value of it, right? Um, if we don't manage to do these interviews, then we're going to post these as a report. So it's going to be
Uh,
like a report. That's as far as we can go. We can't really, with this data that we have right now, I think it's a great data. We could potentially write a paper, but it wouldn't really be a peer-reviewed academic paper without the interviews.
well, I think that's the next step, and I think anyone who's watching this from industry and is interested in, you can help companies to actually do this from your experiences. I mean, it sounds fantastic, and I think you're really heading in the right direction, and it would be a shame not to take this further. So anyone wanting to reach out to contact Raphael, his contact details are below this podcast and video and on Spotify, and he's happy to hear from you, and he's be happy to support you in making the world a better place by getting employees to play games together. Absolutely 100% agree, and I think it's fantastic. I'm literally going, okay, I need to get Raphael to talk to some people for me now on based on this, which shows how much is needed. That I'm really literally
Yeah.
saying that, I go, oh God, yeah, I'm getting excited about this. So Raphael, thank you very much for being on today, for a fantastic talk, and good luck with the rest of the project.
Thank you too, Brian. And just last thing, Liquid did a great job with the event. So kudos to them as well for the event. They've done a
Yeah, I
fantastic
agree.
job with organizing it. And so yeah, they are on the top. They're performing amazingly. So yeah, great job to Liquid
So
as well.
competitively and socially, they're doing great.
Yeah,
Well done, Team Liquid. Okay, thank you
absolutely.
very much.